Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic and Governor Brian Kemp signing 2 new executive orders extending restrictions as a record-breaking number of new COVID-19 cases are reported in the state. Nick Sturdivant is live outside the state capitol with more on the orders.
Good morning, Shiva. Governor Kemp said it's the spike in new COVID-19 cases and the amount of people in the hospital with COVID-19 that played a huge role in his decision. Again, the governor signing 2 new executive orders. His first order extends the public health state of emergency through August 11th. The second order continues to require social distancing and bans gatherings of more than 50 people if they cannot maintain social distancing. The order also expands shelter-in-place orders for people in nursing homes and the medically fragile. The governor extending these guidelines through July 15th. Now, the governor is also planning a statewide tour of different cities so he could promote wearing masks and also people could heed that warning, that public health warning, as he signs these new executive orders. Shiva.